to Shannon's chagrin, it would be the Lakers in the second round. And if I had to pick one of the LA teams who I think the Rockets have the best chance of beating, upsetting, it would be the Lakers for the reasons we talked about in the last segment. The Lakers have trouble guarding the perimeter. And that, of course, is the strength of the Houston Rockets. So I think they would give the Lakers some headaches and push them in a really tough series. And I give them a decent chance of beating the Lakers, although I'd favor the Lakers. So the things I like about the Rockets, since they've gone small ball, they have become less Harden-centric. So now the dynamic between James Harden and Russell Westbrook now is much more of a two-headed monster rather than being a definitive Harden first option, Russell second option. I mean, Russell's taking more shots than Harden in these 2 games in the bubble, and he's averaging 31 points, 8 assists, 8 rebounds. And Harden, of course, had the big 49-point night. So he's still able to get his too. So I love that the offense is less predictable because it's a two-headed monster. And then defensively, as they showed in the bubble, the 2 games, they're not a bad defensive team down the stretch. In the fourth quarter against Dallas, when they came back and won that game, Dallas is the best offense in the league as far as offensive rating, and they held them to 20 points in the fourth quarter. And then, of course, yesterday against the Bucks, they forced 23 turnovers and did a good job guarding them in the fourth quarter. So Houston, like I said, I've said all season, they're the 3rd best team in the West. But with Russell, they keep you off balance because of his intensity and his speed. And then Harden dominates the half court. So I give them a 6. They're a tough team.
Chris Broussard. You and I have been covering this league for a long time, me longer than you. I've been studying this league for a long, long time. I have never, ever seen anything like these Houston Rockets. I've never seen anything. I've never seen a game won the way last night's game was won, which is why my scale of 1 to 10, my confidence in them as a threat is all the way up to an 8. I have liked this team.
Getting to the finals?
No,
to get to the finals.
But they're going to scare the hell out of whoever they play. I could see them winning a couple of rounds. I could see them knocking off the Lakers if you're talking about a second-round matchup. But the point is, they are finally playing. Mike D'Antoni team is playing defense in ways that I never thought was imaginable because they disrupted a very good Bucks offensive team last night. They hounded them. They harassed them. They did force 23 turnovers. They stole the ball. They deflected passes. They got in their way. They got under their skin. They got in their hair. They got inside their psyche. And down the stretch, the Bucks looked laughably out of sync because they could not run their offense against Harden and Westbrook and Covington and this defensive team. So again, they got out-rebounded last night by 29 points in the paint, 60 to 20 for the Bucks. 60 to 20? The Rockets missed 43s, and I told Shannon earlier, I think 35 of them were what I would consider wide-open threes, and those 35 included maybe 30 short corner threes. They're just wide open. P.J. Tucker had a miserable night, but he made 3 that really helped. James Harden had a miserable night shooting threes. He was only 3 for 12, and it didn't matter because they did make 21 out of 61 threes. So they outscored them 21 to 9 from the three-point line. That'll work. And they outscored them by 10 from the free throw line. That will really work. So all of a sudden, that's a plus 46 points, and you offset the small ball versus the Giants. They turned Brook Lopez into a big, bad bully in the fourth quarter, and I was screaming at my TV.
You were shacking him.
Put Tyson Chandler in. They got Tyson on the bench. I love Tyson Chandler. I know he's 37 in year 19, but he's 7'1", and at least he could have bothered Brook Lopez for 5 minutes in the fourth quarter. But no, Mike D'Antoni just folds his arms over there and says, watch me, watch my genius at work. So now they have 2 Steve Nashes penetrating, and Nash could never get to the rim and the free throw line the way these 2 guys can, one from the left, one from the right. And they're drawing every buck into the middle of the paint, and all of a sudden everybody's wide open on the perimeter, and Russ and James seem to be willing passers. They're going to get a whole bunch of wide open threes. If they can make 35, 38% of them, you're going to lose because it's going to be too many points to overcome when they're shooting 61, which tied the all-time regular season record for a game that didn't get to overtime.
Well, if they make 38% of their threes, they beating everybody.
Everybody.
They gonna get up 50 to 60.
Yep.
So if they getting up that many threes, how do you win a game? As Skip mentioned, Chris, they were out-rebounded by 29. They were out-rebounded 17-6 on the offensive end. You hold them. The Rockets shot less than 40% from the floor, less than 35% from the three. But as you mentioned, they forced Milwaukee into 20-plus turnovers. They only had 9. And that was the difference in the ball game the other night against the Mavericks. You mentioned they have the #1 offense efficiency. But what I say about offense or defense, it only matters, can you get done what you need to get done when you absolutely had to have it. Look at Dallas down the stretch and see how many times they turned the ball over. Look at Milwaukee yesterday when they had that lead down the stretch, how many times they turned the ball over and allowed the Rockets to get back into it. But the #1 thing the Rockets have going, Russell Westbrook says, even though I'm going to a team that they want to shoot 53s a night, that's not my game. I'm a mid-range, drive the ball to the bucket guy. Russell attempted 3 threes yesterday, and his mid-range game is where he's most lethal. So he's driving the ball, putting pressure on you at the rim, or he's walking up to you because you got to get on your heels because he can still go by you. And so he's